Hi everyone, Matt Watson here from carwow. I've brought together 6 of the very latest small electric cars because I want to find out just what their real world range is. So how far you can drive them on a full battery till they run out of charge. I also want to see what happens when they do run out of charge. Do the wheels suddenly lock up? Power steering stop working? Who knows? Well, I'm going to find out, and to do that we're going to be driving them from this service station on the outskirts of London up north until they conk out. Sounds simple? Probably won't be. We're heading off, we're leaving the service station, and we're going to see how far we can go on full charge. This little Honda-E starts from just over £27,000. That includes your £3,000 government grant. This particular version is the advanced model, so it has some extra kit on it, plus it has a higher performance motor. So normally you get 136 horsepower. This has 154 horsepower. The range is usually 137 miles, but because the Advance is on 17-inch alloys rather than 16, the range falls to 125 miles. But one of the good things about this advanced car is that it has the cruise control system with radar guidance and auto steer, so it'll take care of all the driving pretty much for me. However, do you know what? I'm not going to use it because these systems aren't as good at predicting the traffic ahead, so often they're accelerating and braking, which will use up precious battery. I've obviously got the air conditioning on because it's a blistering hot day. We want it to be real life, and in real life you can have the aircon on. This little Honda has a 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, which is about mid-table for the cars here. Its weight of just over 1.5 tons, once again, is about middle of the pack. This advanced model costs a little bit more. It comes in at £29,000. I'll tell you what, for a little car, this is actually pretty decent on the motorway. It's comfy, it's quite quiet. I'm impressed. It's small, but slightly luxurious. I love the interior design as well, it's super cool. Honda says it's not retro, but there's something retro about it. It's as though someone designed this car back in the 70s, projecting what people would be driving in the year 2020. I love all the screens and the funky door mirrors, which aren't door mirrors, they're actually cameras. You've got little cameras poking out the side of the car because that reduces the drag, improves your range. So we'll see what effect that has today. Now we're just coming off the motorway because a lot of people probably think with these kind of cars, small electric cars, you're going to be driving them in town mainly. That's what they're for. So we're going to go around town now and we'll work out when you're just driving around town how far each of these cars will go. One of the great things about the Honda is that it has a one pedal mode. So all I have to do is press a button down here and the car will give me extra regenerative braking. So it really does slow the car quite severely when you lift off the accelerator. So you don't actually have to use the brake at all. The other cars don't have that facility. You can increase the regen braking on them so they will slow quite strongly, but not in the same way that this does. I love one pedal when you're in town. It just makes everything easy. Also, every time I'm lifting off, I'm recouping energy, putting it back in the battery. It can help maximise my range. The suspension is a bit on the firm side, so when you go over rough surfaces, you do get a bit of jiggling going on, but it's not bad. Just nip ahead of this guy. Oh, the pickup's pretty good. Actually feels sporty. The motor's in the back, so you get pushed along. It's rear-wheel drive. The steering's pretty nice as well. One of the great things about the Honda-E is its tight turning circle. That makes it so manoeuvrable and dead easy to park. I love it for that. Okay, that's the town section done. And this car averaged 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So Mini, what did you do?
3.8 miles per kilowatt hour in the Mini.
How about the up?
3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
And the Corsa?
4.1 miles per kilowatt hour.
How about the 208?
4.2 miles per kilowatt hour.
And finally then, the Zoe.
The Zoe's taken it. It's done 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour.
Wow, that's actually impressive. Right, I've jumped into the Mini E now, and it feels quite different from the Honda right from the get-go. It feels heavier, though it's actually lighter. It's 1,365 kilos. I think it's to do with the weighting of the controls. They're just more kind of chunky and substantial. The car has a sportier stance on the road. It feels pretty solid. It's also quicker, like you put your foot down in this and it just absolutely takes off. It's got a 184 horsepower motor and it can do 0 to 16 in 7.3 seconds, whereas the Honda-E is 8 seconds. But the difference feels more than that when you're actually driving them. It's quite nice actually. It's as quiet as the Honda-E. Is it as cool looking? This is a bit over-styled if you ask me. That's more modern. Now we're entering a roadwork zone, so we're having to drop the speed slightly, which is handy because this car doesn't have the biggest battery, 32.6 kilowatt battery. The range is 145 miles, which is better than the Honda E, even though the battery is slightly smaller. That must be to do with the weight difference. It's 200 kilos in it, which is quite a lot. I don't know what Honda is building their car out of. Is it lead? In terms of pricing, this Mini E starts from £24,000, though you can get higher specification versions, and then you can come in at 30 grand more if you add options. You know what Mini's like. Doesn't matter which model you go for though, you always get the 184 horsepower motor and the 32.6 kilowatt battery. Just get the entry level one. It's quite nice in here. It's very stylised. You sit a bit lower than you do in the Honda E, so you don't get quite such a good view out, but material quality is really very good. It's better than the Hondas, though I do prefer the design of the Hondas. It's just more quirky still. What's going to be most interesting, will it be able to beat the Honda E for range? Because they're closely matched. Right, I'm in the Volkswagen Up now, and it feels like a bit of a downgrade from business class, which would have been the Mini, to economy, which is this. See if we can get up to speed. It's nowhere near as nippy as the Mini. It's not surprising though, its motor only has 82 horsepower. This car takes 11.9 seconds to do 0 to 60 miles an hour. So at least it's light, 1,235 kilos. Tell you what though, it does feel better over the bumps than the Mini. That's the trade-off you see for that sporty driving experience. This is noisier though. Can hear the road more, can hear the other traffic more. It's definitely less relaxing. The range is alright though. It's supposed to do 159 miles. It's not bad considering it's got the battery capacity of 36.8 kilowatt hours. This Up is the cheapest car here by quite some margin. It starts from £20,000. However, I think I'll pay the extra 5 grand for the Mini because it's just a nicer thing and quicker. I think for driving around town this would be fine, but for longer journeys you probably want something a bit more substantial with more poke. Something like Mercedes MG GT. No, it's not quite as eco-friendly as this, is it? I'll tell you something I've noticed about this car. The regenerative braking isn't that strong. I've got it in its highest setting, number 4. You don't notice it that much when you lift off. I mean, it slows, but it's not like the Min, and it's certainly not like the Honda E when you're on one pedal mode. It's a shame, I really like that regen effect. It's just not quite good enough in this. Oh, actually, now I'm going slower, the regen braking is more noticeable. It's just at higher speeds. You don't feel it as much as you do in the Mini or the Honda E. I take it all back, little Volkswagen. For round town work, the regen braking is just fine. Will it actually stop though, before I crash into the Honda E? Yeah, it will. And then start rolling backwards slightly. Now I'm in the Peugeot E208, and it definitely feels more special to sit in than the little Volkswagen Up. 94 miles gone so far. So I bet that Honda E is close to the end of its range. Let's find out. Hey Honda, are you alright for battery?
I'm getting a little bit worried. It's 4% remaining on the battery.
And it's saying 4 miles of range, so
I'm going to turn off at the next junction, I think. I'm not going to chance it.
Even then I think you might be struggling. When is the next junction?
I think is in about 2 miles. Well, I hope it is anyway.
So, first to bail, little Honda. The cutest and coolest car here has the worst range. It's going to be interesting to see how far it can go in total though, because even though it's saying 4% remaining, is that really just 4%, or is there 4% plus a bit more?
Guys, my battery's down to 1%.
I've got tortoise on the screen,
So I'm just going to chill in the slow lane.
until I get to junction 22.
Shouldn't be laughing. I've got like 55 miles of range left. I reckon I can do more than that as well.
I'm now on 0% battery.
She's 1 mile away. Will he do it? I hope he gets off the motorway. Here comes his junction. I'm actually nervous for him. Well, there he goes. I wonder if he'll get anywhere near a charging point. See you later, little Honda. Now he's gone, I can tell you about this Peugeot E208. I do really like it. The interior, very cool. It's also got nice feeling materials on the whole. I also like the layout of the dials. It is a bit quirky with this small steering wheel, and some people will not like it. I do. It's quiet, you know, relaxing, good seats. The performance is definitely better than that VW Up. The motor drives the front wheels yet again, but it has 136 horsepower. So I'll do 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds. Also, the braking mode, the regen, is stronger than the VW Up. I'm noticing it more here on the motorway, which is a good thing. It doesn't come cheap though. This car costs £30,000, which is quite a lot really for a small Peugeot. Now I should point out that this car is the range-topping version of the E208, so it's got all the bells and whistles on it. You can get them for cheaper. It does have a 50 kilowatt hour battery though, and that's good for a range, according to Peugeot, of 217 miles, but we'll find out exactly what it does. So far we've done 111 miles, and I'm sure that Mini must be getting low on juice. Hello Mini, what's your trip computer saying?
Well, I just had a warning flash up saying I've got less than 15 miles of range.
So what battery percentage have you got left?
It's 14% on the battery. It feels like 1% per mile I'm losing at the moment.
Mini, you realise we're in a section of the motorway without a hard shoulder. How does that make you feel?
You know what? I hadn't noticed that until you pointed it out. I was too busy staring at my range and getting worried about that.
You could end up being the most hated person in Britain today if your car stops on the motorway and you cause a huge tailback and everyone is sat in their car sweating their nuts off.
No pressure then.
No pressure, and I will definitely leave him and bugger off. I notice you've slowed down somewhat. Is this you trying to save your skin by conserving energy?
It might be.
Have you now flicked the car into eco mode as well?
Well, I haven't done that just yet because when I do,
It switches the air conditioning off, and it is a hot day today.
That's a good point. This looks like your junction, Mini.
it certainly is. I think it's time to say farewell, everyone.
See you later, Mini. I'm now in the Corsa-E. Considering this is exactly the same car as the E208, it does feel different. Everything you see and touch is different, to be fair, but underneath the skin, the motor, the batteries and everything, it's the same. However, this just feels a little bit firmer over bumps. I don't want to say sportier, but a little less soft. Also, it's not quite as interesting inside. Quality-wise, it's about the same, but the design is just more like a normal car. The Peugeot has more personality, I think. Though, certain people will not get on with the dials and the seating position in the Peugeot, and if you're that kind of person, you should definitely check out this Corsa. It's got the same 50 kilowatt hour battery, it's got the same 136 horsepower motor. The Corsa starts from £26,000. The top of the range Corsa is just over 30 grand. However, while they have the same motor, the performance stats are slightly different for them. This is supposed to do 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds, which is quicker than the Peugeot. So does it feel quicker when I put my foot down? No, not really. It feels pretty much identical. I think it might be because Vauxhall are measuring 0 to 60, whereas Peugeot is doing 0 to 62 because they're French and it's obviously 0 to 100 kilometres an hour. There's also a bit of difference in the weights. So this is listed as 1,530 kilos, whereas the Peugeot is about 50 kilos less. But once again, I think Peugeot is listing the dry weight, whereas this is the wet weight, so that's a driver and some fluids. All very confusing, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is the range. So the Peugeot is supposed to do 217 miles. This is supposed to do 209 miles on a full charge. We've been driving now for 123 miles. I'm going to check in with the Honda to see what happened.
So,
Hello Honda, how you doing?
I'm at the side of the road. I ran out of battery.
So what happened when it ran out?
It only slowed down the last mile where it became quite a bit slower. And then when it actually ran out, travelling downhill at the time, on a country road, it just forced the car into neutral. It started the coast. Luckily there was someone to pull off. And as soon as the car had stopped, it forced it to park. And then I couldn't get it out of park. I could put the handbrake on and off, but it was stuck in park.
So it didn't lock itself until you actually stopped the car yourself?
That's right, yeah. It was all safe.
How many miles did it do before it stopped?
Once it got to 0, it went 14 miles beyond that. But in total, it did 113 miles.
So what are you going to do?
I have called Mr. RAC man, who's coming out, get me sort of 4 miles of juice in it, and then I'm getting to the local Polar 50 kilowatt charger. Charge it up, head on home.
The RAC actually run a special electric car recovery service. There's about 60 vans around the country, and if you run out of battery, you can call them up and they'll come out to you and they'll top up your battery so you've got enough charge to get to the nearest proper charging station so you're not left stranded. We've now done 133 miles. This car has just under 25% of battery left, saying the range is 37 miles. I'm going to see what the Peugeot's doing. So, Mr. Peugeot, how much battery you got left, and what's your remaining range?
About 10% battery.
And apparently I've got 16 miles left.
I'm not sure you're going to make our next changeover point. Are you going to have to leave at some point soon?
I might get scared and shoot off.
What's he going to do? Anyway, how is the VW Up doing?
Well, to be honest, the Up isn't doing much better. It's on about 12% battery.
It says it has a range of 20 miles.
So do you have the nerve to go to the changeover point?
I think I can make it.
Finally then, Renault Zoe, I bet you're absolutely bloody fine, aren't you?
38% of battery left.
And it's telling me I can drive another 87 miles.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will the Peugeot leave? Will the VW Up leave? Who knows? I'm not leaving. I'm good.
Peugeot update, battery low. It's telling me on my sat-nav what the nearest charging points are.
It's pretty keen for me to turn off soon.
You're not going to get off here then? You're just going to carry on?
You know what? I think I can make the next charging point. I'm going to go for it.
Brave man. No guts, no glory. Hey Peugeot, see that car on the back of the low loader? That'll be you soon, mate.
Yeah, I'm about to follow him because I know my fate.
Another battery low warning. It really wants me to turn off.
I'm going to bail.
I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you won't be stranded.
Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.
Well, there goes the Peugeot. I think that's a little bit of a victory for the Vauxhall, isn't it? Peugeot may own Vauxhall, but it just went and got beaten by Vauxhall. Ooh, that's going to cause an awkward time at the next board meeting. Sorry.
So just to say,
I've had a warning appear on the screen and a symbol of a tortoise. I can't accelerate above 60 miles an hour, and apparently I've only got 9 miles of range left.
That is the VW Up.
okay, we're 1.6 miles to the services exit.
See if you can hang on, little VW Up. You can make it to the services.
I hope so. I don't want to make 2-on-2 breakdowns on a major road for EV range tests.
If you want to know what he's talking about, having broken down before, click on the pop-out banner up there to watch what happened when we took a bunch of much more expensive, longer range electric cars for a range test. Now I'm in the Renault Zoe and I'm feeling comfortable because I've got plenty of battery remaining. Hey little Up, how you doing?
I'll be honest, it's not going very well. My range has gone up slightly. It says I have 14 miles left. However, I can't seem to get above 50 miles an hour.
I'm driving in what is a system called Eco Plus mode, which also means I don't have any AC on. So when the thermostat is saying
32.5 degrees, I'm sweating buckets.
I'm so glad I'm not in that car now. I'm fine. I'm going to turn my aircon all the way up. Oh, yeah. Actually, I better not because it might affect the range a bit. We'll just have it comfortable. So what do you plan to do then?
I plan to leave the motorway as quickly as possible.
To be fair, with you stuck at 50 miles an hour, you're sort of holding us up because both me and the Corsa, we're fine to push on to 70.
Well, I'm sorry to do this to you.
Also, it's not particularly nice constantly being overtaken by big scary HGVs either, is it?
No, not when your car's the size of a shoebox.
All right then. I think you better leave us. Here's his exit. It's been with us for around 148 miles, but now it's time for him to go. See you later, little Up. You might be the cheapest car here, but you put in a sterling performance. Now I can get back up to 70 miles an hour. Right, Corsa, I think we can speed up.
Although, having said that, my battery level has just given me a warning sign. I think I'm down to the last
12% or so, and I've had a little yellow warning sign. No other effects so far. Oh, it is trying to direct me to the nearest service point, however.
But you must ignore what it tells you to do and push on. You must stay strong and resolute in your challenge to drive this car until it completely runs out of electricity. It is your duty.
a duty I accept. But my word, I'm nervous. Telling me I've got
14 miles left.
where I plan to go off is probably about 8 or 9 miles away.
Right, we've got a little bit of downtime now until the course has to leave. So I'm going to tell you a bit about this Renault Zoe. So the range starts from around £27,000 after taking into account the £3,000 government grant. For that, you get the 110 horsepower model. This is the 135 horsepower version, and that starts from around £29,000. And it can do 0 to 60 in 9.5 seconds. Out here on the motorway, the performance seems identical to the Corsa and the 208. Put your foot down and it picks up nicely. Enough power for overtaking without too much fuss. I haven't got much fuss really about the range either. It's supposed to do 238 miles. Oh my God, the Corsa's going. I wasn't expecting that. Corsa, you're leaving us. I wasn't expecting it.
Mileage has just dropped.
I'm going to have to dive off and find the nearest stop.
He bottled it in the end. I thought I had a bit of time to tell him about the Zoe. Anyway, as I was saying, this car has a 55 kilowatt hour battery, which means I don't have to worry about getting off yet because its range is 238 miles. I've got 29% of charge left in the battery and it says I can do 70 miles on that. This car is performing really, really well. It's actually the heaviest. It's 1,577 kilos. So I'm surprised that it's performing in terms of the range and efficiency so much better than all the others. Inside it feels a little bit more like an electric car than the Corsa, although I don't think it's as cool to sit in as the Peugeot and definitely not as cool as that little Honda. Comfort wise, very similar to all the others. It's soft in the suspension than the Corsa. It's more like the little Peugeot and the VW. Much more comfortable than the Mini and the Honda. And it is the most relaxing simply because I know I can go further. And that counts for a lot with an electric car. My only issue with it is that I'm not the biggest fan of the design, but you know, each to their own, you may like it. Just had a text from the Peugeot. Apparently it's finally died. So I'm going to call him, find out what happened. You alright?
The Peugeot has conked out now, completely.
What happened?
So as I'm crawling up this hill, there's a truck behind me, so I pull over to try and let it go, and I give it one last oomph to try and get up the hill, and the car just decided no.
So how did it stop? Did it just stop completely, or did it just go into neutral?
Turtle mode, when it first came on about an hour ago, it did reduce the power, but it wasn't too bad. It's basically been a steady decline in power. It just came to a stop really, but nothing else actually came up on the car to say that the car had completely stopped. I've been sat here about 10 minutes and the car has only just come up with an actual final warning saying that the electric traction has stopped. The power steering has gone, and I've lost air conditioning, cannot move the car whatsoever. Very friendly police officers have just stopped to check whether I'm all right. Thank you very much to these guys, absolute legends. Do you like the new Peugeot? Yeah, you wouldn't mind one.
So how many miles did it do in total?
It did 161 miles in total.
I've still got loads of charge left, comparatively speaking, 10%. It's actually done almost 200 miles now in total, this car. Only got to do another 38 to do what it's claimed to do. I've just had another text, this time from the Volkswagen-E. It's broken down. I'm going to call him, find out what happened.
Hello?
Hi, how did it all come to an end?
So I was driving, it hit 0 mile range. Once it had done that, it still continued on for about 2 miles. However, those 2 miles were done at no more than 10 miles an hour. So I was trying to go up a hill, not a very steep hill. However, it didn't have the ability to even push itself up this small hill. So it kind of rolls back down a little bit, and since coming back...
Wait there, I need to interrupt you, sorry, because my car says, have you used the eco mode, because I'm now at 6% battery. We'd like to charge your car. No, I don't want to charge it. Where the bloody hell is eco mode? Yes, I would like to try it, but where is it? Ah, there, button here. No. Oh, right, that's reduced the performance. I really have to floor the accelerator to increase the speed. It's basically holding me at 60 miles an hour. Anyway, sorry. What are you saying about the up? So you went up a hill and then it started to roll back down, so you had to stop it.
Yeah, but then since getting on the flat ground again, I've tried to put it in reverse, put it into drive, but it just doesn't move at all. It stopped on a junction as well, so that's fun. Thankfully, it's just a junction in a housing estate.
So how many miles did it do in total until it stopped?
So it did 162 miles. However, I believe the claimed range is 159 miles.
Wow, so it did better than expected.
Amazingly.
Well, I'm still going. I'll speak to you later.
All right, cheers.
The acceleration on this is now really slow, but it's holding speed, and I could get up to 70 if I want to, but I'm not going to. Oh no, we've got a battery warning. I'm going to have to get off. Here we go, finally. The Zoe is going to have to leave the motorway. And I appear to be on another motorway. Oh. Not ideal. 2% battery remaining. 12 miles of range, 11 miles of range. It's going down as I'm speaking. Oh, limited performance, we have the Tercel. I've put in a charging point into the sat-nav. It's about 6 miles away. The car's saying it's got 8 miles of range left, 1% of battery. I think this is the only time I've been thankful for being stuck behind a tractor. People can be mad at it for going slow, not me. It's not like I'm trying to conserve energy. Thanks, tractor. The car's still got decent performance though. I could go quicker if I wanted to. No, I can't though, because I'm trapped now. Going up a hill. Do not conk out on a hill. Not like the VW up. Looks like the tractor actually just pulled off there to let people past. Here we go. I'm on my own now. The car's just gone on to 0% battery, but it's still saying I've got 6 miles of range remaining. Bizarre. Hopefully I'll make it to near this charge point. Oh, we've just had a text actually from the Mini. Apparently it's finally run out of charge. Let's give them a call to find out what happened. Hi, how you doing?
Hello. Right, I finally ran out of juice an hour and a half after I thought I was going to die by the side of the road.
What happened?
It started taking away the power, so there's a readout of you how much power you're allowed to use. The range was dropping really quickly until it got to 6 miles remaining, and then it sat at that for ages and ages and ages. And then all of a sudden it started to go down really quickly again. Got to 0 and I thought, this is it. But it carried on going for another 20 miles and then the car just cruised to a stop and that was it. It didn't lock itself in park and it didn't put the handbrake on so I could push it, and I was really close to a charger, so I lucked out on that one.
So how many miles did it do in the end?
A total mileage, 154 miles.
Okay, well, not bad for the Mini. I still got 5 miles remaining, even though I have no battery left apparently. Well, this is a nice place. Oh, lovely day out for an EV range test. Yes! So I've arrived at where there's a charging point. It's just in there and it's in between 2 mini roundabouts, so I can essentially just keep on going round and round and round until the car starts to die. It's going to be very, very boring and it could go on for quite a while because the car is still saying it's got 3 miles of range left, so I'm going to be doing this for at least 3 miles. Oh, I'm down to 1 mile now. Right, I've just had a text that the Vauxhall Corsa has finally died, so I can give him a call now.
Hello.
Hey Corsa, what happened?
Got very near the panic charge point that I'd hastily put in, and it still kept on going. It went into a reduced power mode, last 3 or 4 miles driving around a retail park. I managed to roll it to a stop within about 4 or 5 foot of a charger, and a couple of very kindly gents helped me push it back so the cable could reach. But even now, power steering is still working, even though the traction battery won't let it go anywhere.
So it did all right then in the end?
In the end, it gave me 174 miles. From what I hear, we beat the Peugeot by a few miles.
Not much in it, but it still did just beat the Peugeot, even though they're the same car. I'm still going, of course, with no miles range left, nothing on the battery, so I'll bid you a farewell and concentrate just in case the car suddenly cuts out.
Well, good luck to you.
When will it cut out though? I hope it's not going to last for another like 20 miles. Getting neck ache doing this. This is taking forever. So I've now done 228 miles. I'm so tempted to go further away. Oh. I'm going to risk taking a right up here. Will this be my downfall? Oh, I'm going to turn around. I need to turn around. The car is dying. Bloody typical! This is so typical. Can I make it around here? Oh, no. Oh, it's dying. The car is dying. It's dying. It's dying. It's dying. Why did I do that? I was so close to the blooming chargers. That was very interesting. The car was actually doing okay. It was limited power, but it still went fine. And then all of a sudden, it just lost all power and started to coast. And then when I tried to turn round and I stopped for a second, the car took that opportunity to just shut down. So it gave me power steering and it was coasting. But once I'd stopped, it's like, right, that's your lot. You've stopped now. You're safe. We're not going any further. But it did it safely. I'm just going to try turning it off and on again. Check electric system. It's not even letting me turn it off. I'm in neutral. Press brake and start. Limited performance. Come on. No, it won't go to drive. Right, let's try locking it. Battery now in standby mode. Have I just locked myself in the bloody car? Please open. Oh, vehicle checks in progress. Battery saving. The system will automatically shut down to reduce the drain on the car battery. No, it's just done. It's game over. This car, in the end, did 229 miles. That's really impressive. Considering how much it costs, the range is really, really good. Hello.
Are you dropping down?
Yeah, so basically, I've got an electric car. I've been filming how far I can drive it. I've come from London.
Oh, God.
And it's just stopped here.
So what are you going to do?
We're going to see if it rolls. Yeah. And if it does roll, I'm going to see if you will let us just put it on your drive and put a little bit of charge in it.
The cheeky thing.
Go on.
With no charging point.
All it needs is a 3-pin plug.
The fellow that lives here, he's got a point in this garage. Shall I go and have a word?
Go on. Oh, she's running. Look. Hello.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah.
I know there's a charge point there, but I've got no juice in it. But I reckon if I could put probably a little bit of charge in it, it'll let me drive it again, and then I can get to that charge point, and then we can get home. Oh, yes! The man has a... I'm not sure whether you can use an extension cable with an electric car. Should we just do it anyway? This guy has all the leads. An absolute legend.
You're lucky I'm doing this because it's a bloody French car.
What have you got? You've got a Japanese one.
Oh yeah, yes, but not
he's
French.
Got a thing.
Do you know which car did the worst in our test? It was a Japanese car. It was a Honda. So you can't mock the French car because the French car has won today. There we go. That can go into there. Hopefully I won't get a shock. It's going! Now we just have to leave it here for a while and hope no one wants to go up this road.
So then what exactly happened? Well, the Honda was the first to fall, managing 113 miles, which is 90% of its 125-mile claimed range. Next was the Mini, which did 154 miles, which is 106% of its claimed 145-mile range. The Peugeot did 161 miles, which was 74% of its 217-mile claimed range. The Volkswagen did 162 miles. That's 102% of its 159-mile claimed range. The Vauxhall managed 174 miles, which is 83% of its 209-mile claimed range. And finally, the Renault did 229 miles, which is 96% of its 238-mile claimed range.